Why did the Vikings move off Sam Darnold? According to the report, even though he won 14 games last year and led the Vikings to the playoffs, which shocked everybody, he struggled in, quote, several big games. Their words, Minnesota's words, several big games. Okay, let me ask you. When the Vikings play the Packers, is that a big game? Yeah, it's usually the biggest game of the weekend, regardless of who's quarterbacks. Darnold went 2-0 against the Packers, 75% completion percentage in 2 games, 326 yards a game, ate them alive. It was 2-0 in those games. Are the Bears-Vikings big games? Of course, it's a division game. 2-0 against the Bears, average 286 yards a game. By the way, one of those was on Monday Night Football, and a Vikings-Bears game, standalone game on Monday Night Football, qualifies as a pretty big game. Went 4-0, Green Bay, Chicago. Darnold did in Minnesota. Their words, not mine. Several big games. All right, well, let's go to division overall. Okay, it was 4-2 with a 96 passer rating, and the NFC North in 2024 had the highest winning percentage of any division in NFL history. So he swept the Packers, he sweeps the Bears, he goes 4-2 with a 96 passer rating just in division games. Well, Colin, what about the other ones? Okay, I went and looked at those. Against playoff teams in 2024, those feel like big games. Darnold had a 106 passer rating. That's higher than Josh Allen, who was the MVP. Higher than Mahomes and Stafford. Mahomes got to a Super Bowl. So he was great against playoff teams. He was perfect against the Bears and the Packers. But in several big games, he let them down. No, let's be honest. He stunk in the last regular season game, which was the biggest game in Detroit, arguably, of my life. It was the biggest home game for Detroit with a chance to get the number 1 seed in my adult life, and they beat the hell out of him. And Sam didn't play well. Well, what about the Rams game the next week? Well, the Rams sacked him 9 times. Minnesota could not protect Sam Darnold. He fell behind and was trying to make something happen. So if you want to say he struggled in 2 games back-to-back at the end of the season, that's one thing. But he did not struggle in several big games. He had a better passer rating than the MVP against playoff teams.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. People just kind of created this illusion that Sam can't play big in big moments, and they really leaned on that Lions-Rams game, you know, those back-to-back games, and it was just nonsense, especially the Rams game when he was pressured nonstop. And when we saw other great quarterbacks be pressured nonstop, Patrick in the same playoff run, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, those quarterbacks got lit up. But they weren't willing to entertain that with Sam Darnold. And I got news for you. You know who also stunk in those games? Kevin Unnell. He did a terrible job against the Los Angeles Rams. A terrible job in that playoff game. And so, yeah, the Minnesota Vikings made a huge mistake. They were so obsessed with, we got this young quarterback. We don't have to pay him. That's the way you win this and that. Well, Sam Darnold just led the Seattle Seahawks to the Super Bowl, and J.J. McCarthy was not looking great. And everyone keeps talking about, how do you keep Justin Jefferson happy? How do you, is Justin Jefferson going to demand a trade eventually? Blah, 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 blah. And all these quarterbacks for the Vikings right now, with the O-line, got lit up. Carson Wentz got lit up so much that the team itself was reportedly really upset the way how they handled the injury with him, because they feel that they essentially just hung him out to dry. Like they were actually taking Carson Wentz's side because he was doing everything he could to kind of help out the team, and he was getting lit up. And I still remember Dan Orlowski coming out there. Well, you know, one of the days after a big loss, I think maybe against the Chargers, and he's like, I don't care what quarterback is in this situation. I don't think any quarterback is going to succeed right now. So, yeah. Did the Vikings blow it by letting Sam go? Yeah, absolutely. You have a win now roster that just needed some tweaking, and instead you got rid of your quarterback and said, let's go through quarterback growing pains right now. And that was always going to be a massive, massive, massive risk for the Minnesota Vikings that they really downplayed. And it bit them. And it's not to say that J.J. McCarthy can't come around the corner and be great, etc., etc., but the name of the game is to win a Super Bowl. Everybody keeps talking about being able to build a dynasty or going on a run. How'd that work out for the Rams? How'd that work out for the 49ers? How'd that work out for any of these teams, the closest outside of the Chiefs or the Eagles, who got to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years? It's hard. But this idea that if you just get the right coach and the right quarterback, that you're just going to rip off a whole bunch of Super Bowls and this and that, and it's like detour lines told me that that's what they were building. How'd that work out for them? They didn't even make a Super Bowl. I got in such a big fight because I was like, you have the roster right now, you have Ben Johnson, etc. You got to take a big swing, make some trades in the middle of the season to boost up your defense. And they're like, we're not doing that. We're building a dynasty for the next 10 years. And it's like, okay. Then the next year they missed the playoffs because there was a conversation I had with someone in 24. I was like, might have lost your chance, your best chance, man. So when you have the opportunity, you take that swing, and it is what the Rams did with OBJ, Von Miller, and Stafford won the Super Bowl. It is what the Eagles did going out and getting Saquon Barkley, and they won the Super Bowl. The teams that don't take those swings, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, they get close, but they don't get it. They don't come out on top, despite having great quarterback play. And so you had great quarterback play. You just needed to take another swing. What that swing was, I'm not sure. The Bears were able to rebuild their O-line beautifully in a blink of the eye. They got aggressive considering what Sam Darnold signed for Seattle. With Seattle, that's a massive discount. You could have offered that to Sam, probably even maybe a little bit less, arguably, since it's like you get to really emphasize, hey, you're doing this in Minnesota. Look what we've been able to present to you. Again, it's hard to know exactly how those conversations unfolded, but definitely a possibility. Definitely in the realm of a possibility. And now also remember, you're a year 2 with Sam Darnold. You're year 2 with Sam and Jefferson, etc. The Vikings could have taken a big swing, and if they did, they could be the ones that are potentially going to the Super Bowl right now. I mean, who would be the quarterback for the Seahawks? Nobody. So without Sam, we could talk about how great Jackson Smith and Jigba is and how great this defense is and Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald. Without Sam Darnold, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Their rookie quarterback is not leading them to the Super Bowl. It's just not happening. And so if they didn't get Sam, Geno is already moving on into Las Vegas. Like, they would have not had a great quarterback. They would have probably started a rookie, or they would have made some play for, I don't know, someone's backup somewhere. I think it's a safe bet that they're not in the Super Bowl. And if you kept Sam, took a couple big swings, got another offensive piece, boosted that O-line a little bit better, kept Sam Darnold, year 2 continuity, you couldn't have been a top team in the NFL. You couldn't. You beat the Bears with J.J. McCarthy. You even beat the Lions. You couldn't have won this division. You couldn't be a top seed in the NFL. We just saw Sam Darnold take down the Los Angeles Rams. You couldn't present an opportunity for Sam Darnold to take down the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game. At home, everyone keeps talking about how much of a home field advantage Seattle is. You don't have a huge home field advantage in Minnesota. So yeah, this was a major opportunity blown. Don't tell yourself otherwise, because it helps you sleep at night. You got to acknowledge it. You got to acknowledge the pain. The same thing that I said to the Eagles, you blew it. You had a great opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl. You made bad decisions in the offseason. You made a bad hire. Someone like Howie Roseman, who deserves a massive amount of credit for the teams that he's been able to build, and the hires that he's made in the past. But he messed up. You got to tell the whole story. I think Kevin Unnell is an awesome coach. He messed up. I believe it was his decision. That's reportedly what I had heard back when this was all going down. And I even said that, listen, in Kevin Unnell you trust. I said, at the end of the day, you want this to be Kevin Unnell's decision because you don't want it to be the wrong decision. And now you're like, ownership kind of got involved in a way that they shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. You're like, at the end of the day, this is why you pay Kevin O'Connell the money that you pay him to make these decisions. And if it ends up being wrong, at least it was his decision. At least you were letting the guy who's best equipped to make the decision rather than a GM owner, etc. It was the wrong decision. And it was not the decision that I thought they should have made. I was very loud about that, and I had to fight Minnesota Vikings fans all off season. I had to be like, guys, I'm the one that believed in you. Like, I literally was like having to show people receipts because I was like, I'm the one that said the Minnesota Vikings were going to be great with Sam Darnold before Sam ever took a snap. I'm the one that said that Sam Darnold was going to start before J.J. McCarthy actually got injured. So, yeah. I mean, like, it's a gut check to see the Seattle Seahawks essentially living your life right now. I mean, you had Sam Darnold. You had him as your quarterback. You had him, you got rid of him, you missed the playoffs. You now had to play, like 3 quarterbacks? I think it was 3 or 4 quarterbacks. And now the quarterback that you got rid of, who you said he is just not good enough, had one of the greatest NFC championship game performances of all time in one of the best games of all time and is now going to the Super Bowl in an absolute winnable game. If that hurts, it should. If that doesn't hurt for you, it should. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings today? Make a mistake by letting Sam Darnold go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.